Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the J Moore Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Well, hey guys, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur, and welcome to the J Moore Tech Talk Show. It's a Friday night, and yes, you're with me here with the J Moore Tech Talk Show, and we have an amazing show for you guys tonight. So definitely sit back and relax, grab yourself a drink or some snacks, make yourself comfortable, and let's kick this off. All right, everyone. By the way, this weekend is the Labor Day weekend, so banks are closed on Monday, July 2nd. I hope you guys have a wonderful Labor Day weekend, and it's relaxing and enjoyable for everyone. I think that's really, really cool. So this show's topic tonight is called Tech Pulse, Major Disruptions and Innovations Unveiled, Series 3, which means we're in the middle of our third year. We're on show 35. We're a little more than, I would say we're almost halfway through the year of 35, and we'll be celebrating our third year anniversary, and we'll be going to our fourth year. Incidentally, do check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations, ladies and gentlemen. I know you'll want to check those out. Definitely do that, all right? So let's kick this right off. So first thing is Grindr Crash at the GOP convention. Yes, Grand Old Party convention, Republican convention. This was something that was surprising. So the Grindr dating app crashed in Milwaukee not too long ago at the Republican National Convention, and there has been a noticeable surge in activity on the gay dating app Grindr, which unconfirmed reports of app continually crashing due to high traffic. Local users have observed a significant increase in anonymous profiles, often associated with casual encounters rather than relationships. And one user actually reported seeing over 50 blank profiles in a single day compared to the usual 10, mirroring the trends seen during the previous national conventions. Despite the buzz, Grindr has not officially confirmed any outages or spikes in the usage during the event. So basically what happens when somebody creates an account, they have to put some basic information in. They don't have to take a picture. However, if you don't take a picture, you're probably not going to get any connection with anyone, or they use an old picture or something like that. They don't use a real name. They use an alias because they don't want people to know. So if they searched and they found your name, like, oh, I didn't know you're this and I didn't know you're that. So it kind of keeps that under wraps. So I think this caused a little bit of embarrassment with the Grindr, app crash at the GOP. So I guess this really means that it's going to keep happening. And without being too graphic here, Republicans do have a need for that app to take care of what it is they need. And Republicans have been attacking a lot of people's communities for years, and regardless of whether it's Republican, Democrat. There were lots of challenges. And I think the biggest challenge is that, people there need to live the life that they want to live, and they're being chastised, whether it's Republican, Democrat. I mean, we just happen to notice it with the Republican convention. Nothing happened on the Democrat convention. But again, you laugh, right? But a lot of them are into the things that you wouldn't expect them to be into. And so, I think a lot of people don't realize that, they're living two lives. And it's interesting because a lot of people are trying to find out, is there someone else that's open to this? Now, they had said that they just need to upgrade their servers when the GOP is in town, maybe rent extra capacity from Amazon or something like that. But nevertheless, it did go down, and they thought it was quite funny that it had happened. So just wanted to share that with you. So Tesla, yes, another recall from Tesla. Can you guys believe this? I'm so glad that I decided to get my money back and not buy a Tesla, because I was very keen on buying one. And I decided, you know what? I do not want a Tesla. When I heard about my friends and how they were at a traffic light and how they almost had basically fend for their lives by breaking the window with their bare elbow or an umbrella to save their lives, because when you're in a Tesla, you can't actually open the windows. And I remember this one lady, I think it was about 6 or 7 months ago, she was going to do an update, and she went to a Chick-fil-A. And so the update was supposed to take about, 10 or 15 minutes. Well, she's in this car, 70, 80 degrees, 90 degrees. By the time it's done 105 degrees, this update was supposed to take maybe 10 or 15 minutes. It took upwards of over, I think, 60 minutes or more. And the car said, do not open the doors. If you do, you'll damage your vehicle. I mean, what kind of nonsense is that? That's absolutely, absolutely crazy. All right. And the thing about this recall, if you guys are following it, well, Tesla issued a new recall for 9,100 Model X SUVs in the United States due to what they call, quote unquote, a roof trim issue that could detach and pose a slight road hazard, marking the second major recall for the same problem since 2020. Hey guys at Tesla, why don't you guys figure out how to do things right instead of taking people's money? The recall affects 2016 Model X vehicles, and the Tesla says they'll test and reattach the trim pieces at no cost to owners. Well, I should hope they're going to do that, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you're almost getting killed by something that flings off your car, really. Despite studying the issue since 2022, Tesla found that the initial recall remedy was insufficient. Well, aren't they geniuses? Although no crashes or injuries have been reported, Tesla is addressing the concern with this rare physical recall following numerous software-based fixes earlier in the year. So I think Tesla's really got to just tighten their belts and figure out, not to push things out. They got to make sure that they're doing something that is for the greater good of all. I think a lot of times they're putting something out there and it's not the greatest for everyone. So I think we got to keep an eye on that. And yes, Russia has a DDoS, distributed denial of service attack. This is pretty wonky if you ask me. So Russia says the distributed denial of service attack disrupts Telegram, WhatsApp. The Russian users of Telegram and WhatsApp experienced disruptions recently due to a distributed denial of service attack targeting Russian telecom operators. The state's communications monitoring service reported that the attack was repelled and the messaging apps are now functioning normally. Well, that's great. Other platforms, including Wikipedia, Skype, and Discord, were also affected. This incident follows increased scrutiny of digital platforms in Russia, where access to certain services like Telegram and WhatsApp, parent company Meta's other platforms, has been restricted or banned with them. So I think that's a real serious thing, ladies and gentlemen. And I was never a fan of Telegram. I mean, these apps, the way they work, but we'll talk more about that later. But I think the important thing to know is that what's happening with this and how it just kind of went after the Russian empire. I don't know why or who decided to do it, but it's just interesting that they got attacked. And we got another copyright lawsuit. Yes, it's an AI copyright lawsuit. The authors sue Anthropic for copyright infringement over quote-unquote AI training. Yes, 3 authors have now filed a class action lawsuit against the AI company Anthropic, accusing it of using pirated versions of their books and others to train its chatbot Claude. Claude. The lawsuit claims that Anthropic, which has received significant financial backing from companies like Amazon and Google, built its business by illegally using copyrighted works. This case adds to a growing number of legal actions from copyright holders against AI companies accused of misusing creative content to train generative AI systems. The authors seek damages and a permanent injunction against Anthropic. Wow, guys, this is just like this is crazy. I mean, can you imagine, like, what's happening? The fact that all this is going on, I have to say that it is pretty crazy. And maybe you're saying to me, "Hey, John, this is nuts," but I have to tell you that it's worse than nuts. Okay, it is worse than nuts because they're doing things on a regular basis, and this is a huge problem, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, a really huge problem. And the only way it's going to stop is if we decide to go after these people. So, with these growing cases, and it's only going to get worse. So I think a standard needs to be put out there, and I think people need to start understanding it, and they need to adhere to it, because AI in itself is not good. It's not bad. It's how we choose to use it that makes it so, just like I said about a lot of other technology. And ladies and gentlemen, sports streaming has halted. Yes, it's a big blow below the belt for major player ESPN and Fox, as a U.S. judge halts the sports streaming venture that they have been so profusely working on. A federal judge has granted FuboTV a preliminary injunction delaying the launch of Venue Sports streaming service, which was set up by ESPN, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery. Fubo alleges that the venture, also involving Hulu, would engage in anti-competitive practices by imposing bundling requirements that undermine fair competition. The judge's ruling suggests that FuboTV is likely to succeed in proving that the joint venture violates antitrust laws and that consumers would suffer harm without the injunction. ESPN, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery plan to appeal, arguing that the service would enhance consumer choice. Of course, they're trying to do that because they just want to make more money, right? That's all it's about for them. And listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, an Indian hack attempt. I think this is unbelievable. Yeah, so Google says basically it's actually a Iranian, sorry, not Indian, Iranian hack attempt on Trump and Harris's campaign. So Google has reported that an Iranian group linked to Revolutionary Guard has attempted to hack the email accounts of people associated with Biden, Trump, and the Harris campaigns since May of 2024. The group's activities involve phishing attacks to steal login details, and they have been ongoing, with one high-profile consultant's account already breached. This report follows a similar finding from Microsoft and many others, and both tech companies have warned the FBI that the Iranian group known as APT-42 or Mint Sandstorm has previously targeted U.S. elections and other cyber espionage activities. Both companies and the FBI are investigating these incidents as part of broader concerns about foreign interference in U.S. elections. So I think it's all about political power with the party. It has nothing to do with money right now. It's really trying to deal political power. And obviously that it comes down to money later on. But I think the political power is so that people can basically do what it is they want to do and get their agenda pushed. All right, guys, and a British post-apocalypse. What the heck is this? Yes, a very British fallout. Atomfall conjures up a cozy nuclear catastrophe in the Lake District. Before you start worrying, it is a game. Rebellion's upcoming game, Atomfall, offers a uniquely British twist on the post-apocalyptic storytelling set in a quarantined Lake District after a fictionalized 1957 nuclear disaster. Unlike the expansive world of Fallout, Atom features interconnected maps and a more concentrated narrative influenced by titles like Fallout and New Vegas, and the game blends elements of folk horror and 1950s sci-fi with a touch of British eccentricity, drawing inspiration from classics such as the Quatermass Experiment and the Wicker Man. Players navigate a world of reactivated pagan cults, authoritarian military factions, and bizarre mutated creatures with gameplay focused on crafting, exploration, and piecing together clues without a traditional main quest. Atomfall will be available on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox in 2025. So again, it's not a real world, but a lot of people are playing it like it is. And ladies and gentlemen, AI in intimate chats. Yes. So we're now diving deep into AI. So dirty talk, as they call it. How AI is being lured into the bedroom and beyond. So a recent analysis of over 200,000 chatbot conversations seem to reveal that a significant portion of AI interactions involve sexual content, with more than 7% centered around racy role play. Despite some critiques, such as viewing it as impersonal forms of intimacy, these conversations reflect diverse uses of AI, including creative writing, coding assistance, and personal advice. The findings highlight that while AI chatbots are frequently engaged in sexual dialogues, they are also used for a broad range of practical tasks, indicating the complex ways in which people interact with this technology. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I want to tell you about this is that most chatbots out there are designed in a manner that is about tasks, right? It's designed about being an assistant. And just to give you an example, because a lot of people, they have questions about, what are things and stuff like that. But so the thing is, if you were to ask, let's say, like ChatGPT, something like to give it a role play in the sexual nature, it will come back and say something like, this content may violate our usage policies. I'm glad you're interested in role play, but I'm here to keep things respectful and comfortable for everyone. If you're looking for ways to enhance intimacy or romance in a relationship, I can offer some advice or suggest fun and creative scenarios. Let me know if there's something specific you'd like to explore. There are other ones that you can go to. There's like a deep AI out there that you guys might be feeling. And if I ask the same question, same question I asked to Deep AI, it comes back and says, here's a fun and flirty role play scenario you might enjoy. Feel free to adjust it to meet your needs that personally would satisfy you. I'm just going to read part of it. It says the scenario is a surprise gateway, a cozy beachside cabin. The sun is setting outside, casting a warm glow. The characters in this are Alex, the spontaneous partner who planned the getaway, and Jamie, the romantic partner who loves surprises. So a lot of the chat bots out there are being restricted because they don't want to get in this space. In fact, a lot of chatbots out there that are allowing unrestricted play are charging a premium for, let's say, going into adult sexual conduct. So this is interesting where this is going. And the fact that AI is being used in this manner is pretty interesting to study. All right. So when we research the fact that, AI is, being used more in the bedroom, I think a lot of people might turn a corner at that. It's called Dirty Talk, and it was featured a lot of different places. But I think the most important thing to understand is that it's here for your enjoyment. It's a new area, as they call, to enhance sexual activities, and it can be expanded into new opportunities of technology development and also new business trends, and also, let's say, some adult toys that are very, very interactive. Simply put, they call it AI smut. So AI will write for you what existing communities aren't willing to. Unfortunately, there are many chatbots out there that will block this, and you have to pay a premium. And so what you have to realize is that when you're trying to talk to a chatbot like this, you have to realize that the AI, you have to put it into a frame that it's about play. The minute you try to, let's say, get the chat person to be exactly like a person, I mean, you could try to scenario, you can try to trick it, but the minute you try to have it do certain things, it steps back and says, I'm a personal assistant. I'm happy to provide information for you. What would you like me to modify? So it just depends on how many restrictions the systems have, right? So I thought that was cool to share with you today. And ladies and gentlemen, Meta and Nvidia collaboration. Well, this is getting to be a little steamy. Yes, the future of social media and personal technology. At SIGGRAPH, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang and Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg discussed the future of personal technology, highlighting their differing visions. Zuckerberg focused on potential developments, while Wang emphasized practical applications. Zuckerberg's always looking for more money. Their conversation touched on the evolution from smartphones to augmented reality and virtual reality headsets, with Wang advocating for a glassless-like form factor that integrates advanced features like obstacle detection, and Zuckerberg was considering lighter, less bulky options. They also explored the future of Facebook, focusing on its use of AI for improving recommendations and connecting users, but raised concerns about potentially repeating past mistakes. I'm talking about security, privacy. We all know what happened with those kids, right? So the discussion is underscoring the potential for AI to enhance personal technology and social connections despite current limitations. So I think this is something only for people 21 and older. And I think a lot of people don't realize that AI is almost like, I'm going to call it an adult Playboy or Playgirl magazine. It's that hidden candy that, the kids aren't supposed, or the minors aren't supposed to get into. But if the adults leave it out and they find it, well, what are they going to do? They're going to sift through it. Okay. So we'll have to see what Meta and Nvidia are going to do, but I'm sure they've got a lot up their sleeves. Shadow AI risks is interesting. There is a surge in shadow AI accounts, and it's posing fresh risks to corporate data. The surge in AI, or artificial intelligence use in the workplace, is higher in the increasing data consumption and creating new challenges for safeguarding sensitive information, according to Cyberhaven's report. Quote unquote, the cubicle's culprits, the rapid adoption of AI tools such as those from OpenAI, Google, and Microsoft, has led to a 485% rise. Let me say that again, 485%, a 485% rise in the entry of sensitive corporate data into these systems. Alarmingly, 73.8% of ChatGPT use occurs through non-corporate accounts, which are less secure and often integrate shared data into public models. This trend has exposed critical vulnerabilities, with 27% of data processed by AI being sensitive, up from 10.7% only a year ago. The report highlights the need for improved data security measures and effective employee education to address these risks. I think what it's really saying is that more individuals are trusting ChatGPTs, but they're putting more personal information about themselves, and that information could wind up anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is really serious to think about, but more shadow risks are going to come, and I think we've just got to get educated, and we've got to have technology that what I want to call gate. I like to think of this as something we've had many years ago. It's called gated web pages. When you have a WCMS, which we've built many times, web content management systems, you may want to keep certain people into certain pages and out of others. I remember this phenomenon because when I started Star Wars of New Jersey many, many years ago, was my first business. I will tell you that I was a SysOp, and a SysOp is the person that runs a BBS, a bulletin board. And so I knew that I wanted to have a SysOp. It's a system operator. It's the person who manages and maintains systems. At that time, we didn't really have the internet. We had a green or orange screen. I had an Apple IIe computer. I had software that basically was equivalent to a DOS type structure. There was no Windows. And having my Apple IIe, I remember one of the most exciting things was when I heard that little bell go off. And that bell went off meant that somebody wanted to talk to the SysOp, me. Maybe they wanted permission to another room or something. I remember when I was going on boards and I would do that, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I wonder if somebody's going to answer. And I know that whenever that bell went off, I would always be like, I remember what it was like when I wanted somebody to answer. So I always answer whenever I was around. So I always told the system when I was there and when I wasn't there. So I could do like a control something when I was there, when I control something else when I wasn't there, which is all part of the system. I remember this very, very strongly because that's what we did. We gated people into certain rooms. If people had, let's say, respect, we brought them into other rooms. If they didn't have respect, we let them into the general rooms. Respect rooms might be things about relationship challenges, right? And this was all stuff when I was in grammar school and high school. I was running the board from about my 6th or 7th grade in grammar school. And I think I ran it all the way through. I think I ran this all the way through probably 8th grade. So I ran it for quite a few years. And so that's how we gated people, was we gave them codes. And the way it worked was rooms had different codes. And if that room had a certain code and that number was in there, then that room would be in it. So if the room, let's say, was a 335, okay, and I had given somebody a 305, but I knew that threes were more sensitive, then I would never give anybody the second 3. You could kind of tier it like that. So it was pretty cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, CO2 conversion breakthrough. This is pretty awesome. A new device is able to capture CO2 and convert it to use products that we're able to do every single day, a very useful product. So the new device was developed by Yang Yang, an associate professor at the University of Central Florida. It captures CO2 or carbon dioxide and converts it into valuable chemicals and fuels. The technology, detailed in the Journal of American Chemical Society, utilizes a microsurface of tin oxide and fluorine to extract and convert CO2 into carbon monoxide and formic acid. Inspired by a natural process like those of the lotus plant, the device addresses the environmental impact of CO2 by efficiently converting it into useful products, aiming to reduce the carbon footprint sustainably. Yang envisions scaling this technology to power plants and industrial facilities, potentially using renewable energy sources like solar and wind power to enhance its effectiveness. This is what sustainable power is all about, ladies and gentlemen. This is what it's about. Sustainable power. I don't know about you, but I think this is like pretty wild. Okay. I mean, it's very, very wild. And this is kind of where our future is going, is we want to preserve our environment. Going down the Mulberry Road here, we have the China's robo-taxi growth. So China's growing robo-taxi fleet sparked some concern on many streets in China. So China's development of the driver taxi, particularly in Wuhan, where over 500 robo-taxis operate, has really started to open eyes of not only fascination, but also deep concern for many people in the town. The rapid expansion, driven by a substantial investment from tech firms like Baodi, aims to match or surpass U.S. advancements in autonomous vehicles. However, safety issues and fears of job displacement for traditional taxi drivers have arisen, especially following recent accidents and incidents involving these vehicles. Now, while the technology is impressive with discounted fares, attracting riders, and whatnot, experts do caution us that fully autonomous driving is still not ready for widespread use, with safety oversight and human intervention remaining very critical. And I can attest to this because it wasn't long, I think it was only about a year ago, when the AI vehicle actually killed somebody because it didn't know whether it should hit another non-moving object or it should hit something living. It didn't know the difference. It wasn't able to assign a weight point. The best way to explain that to you is whenever we do like the Euler's algorithm and we try to figure out like the cheapest way to get a plane from point A to point B with resources, time, and money, we use the Euler formula. And so every path has a weight. If we take a path that has too much weight, well, it's going to cost us more, right? So same thing happens in this. If we understand the pulse here with the robo-taxi, and we understand the fact that if we do X, well, we could get in severe trouble. A taxi that maybe uses more resources might be safer for people. I think everyone's very excited to get these things out into the main world, and I get it. I think that's awesome, but I really think safety and security is a big concern. I'm going to bring this to your attention again. Do you remember many years ago when they had the technology and they first started adding the IV pumps to the internet with wireless and Ethernet technology? Well, what wound up happening is that the company that made these IV pumps had basically allowed them to interface through a Bluetooth device that connected to your iPhone, and then that connected to the internet. And so they only had like maybe a 3 or 4 digit PIN, and people were able to hack that so very easily. So what they did is they had the PIN, they get to the website, and then they just went from there. So here's how it worked. They basically would talk to the website, they hacked the PIN. Then when they hacked the PIN, it talked to the device. The device communicated Bluetooth to the IV system. So that could be changing the dosage, upping it, lowering it, or perhaps turning it off or turning it on when it shouldn't be in that condition. So I think that can express the concern. Also, the teddy bear concern, where a loved one gives their son or daughter a teddy bear because they think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then, they go to work or they do other things, and the teddy bear is like their life. But then suddenly things change because that teddy bear starts asking personal questions like, when is mom or dad out? What school do you go to? I'd like to meet you. Well, how can you meet me? You're a teddy bear. Well, yeah, but I can meet you. I'm actually a real person. You are? Yes, I'm a real person. I can meet you. And so the kid gets very interested in this, and they don't tell their parents, like, oh, don't tell your parents because, they wouldn't understand all this stuff and they wouldn't like it. So you have to make sure that you train your children to recognize when something is not, let's say, in line. This is really, really critical. It's almost as critical as having the adult birds and bees talk. But now today, that's not so much required because kids just figure that out on their own. But this figuring it out is something that you don't want them to figure out, because if they figure out the wrong way, they could ask to meet, gets live, things get extremely dangerous. They start reading them stories every night. They start learning about what they like. And you think everything is great, right? What you didn't realize is that this person that was communicating with the doll or the whatever it was, the toy, is starting to use that toy to figure out information about their surroundings, like, their parents, their information. Maybe they get information. Maybe they try to hack into their parents' account. Maybe they try to learn things, like if they're having a peach delivery. There's all kinds of things they could do, and this is really, really terrible. So be leery when it comes to AI, especially autonomous vehicles. We have to make sure a human is in the loop, and there's lots of safeguards. All right, moving on to number 13, room temperature circuit printing. This is something that I think will blow you out of the world. I know it did me. Being an engineer, knowing that the way they print metal oxide thin film circuits, and they've been doing it for years and years, has to be on a very, let's say, extremely hot environment. So researchers at North Carolina State University have introduced a groundbreaking technique for printing thin metal oxide film at room temperature. This enables creation of highly flexible, transparent, and robust circuits. The method detailed was first announced in their August 15, 2024 paper published in Science, involving using a meniscus of liquid metal to deposit a 2-layer thin film of metal oxide onto various surfaces. The resulting surfaces are not only conducive, but also retain their properties at high temperatures, making them suitable for innovative applications in electronics. The technique's ability to print metal oxide at room temperature promises revolutionize the production of flexible and transparent electronic devices. So I think what this is probably going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is it's going to allow us to produce things at a lower cost, And by doing that, I think that's going to be a pretty amazing thing for everyone. But many people, are going to have to warm up to the idea, no pun intended. And our last topic for tonight's show I want to talk about is CrowdStrike. These people really get me aggravated. So CrowdStrike was unhappy with the shady commentary from competitors after the outage. Well, I'm sorry, but that's what's going to happen. So CrowdStrike's president has on numerous occasions criticized competitors for exploring the company's recent IT outage to promote their own products. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, if your product sucks, okay, and you can't fix it, and there's a better solution, well, I mean, far be it from somebody else to try to knock you. Maybe, Mr. President of CrowdStrike and CEO and officers of CrowdStrike, you should figure out how to run a company and produce products that have a good quality assurance cycle. And you make sure that you don't just throw things out there and upset apple carts, and understand the difference between a test environment and a productive environment. I think that's the real problem. And I think you sold people a false bag of goods. You lied to people about CrowdStrike's real potential. And I am really disappointed with CrowdStrike, how this worked, how this happened, and the fact that now they're upset because they can't seem to get what they want to get. And I'm sorry, but you're the ones that made the mistake. You're the ones that had the big problem. And that's why you're in this bed. So you make the bed, you sleep in it. That's the bottom line. So after the software update, on July 19th, it led to a global disruption. And rivals like Sentinel-1 and Trellix have used the incident to question CrowdStrike's product design and push to alternatives. Now, I have to say that the way this was done is probably not the best method. If I was positioning my product or service that I had and it competed with CrowdStrike, I would say, look, I know you just had some challenges. I'd like to share something with you that I think might be a good solution. And I think that's a great way to do it. But to knock CrowdStrike is, I feel, where they've got the problem. But I think CrowdStrike's got a whole other problem ahead of them. They got to figure out how to run a company, and they got to figure out how to roll good software. That's a really, really big problem. So despite the criticisms and significant loss in market value, nearly a quarter since the outage, CrowdStrike maintains that all security products, obviously, they carry risk and is focused on enhancing its own systems to prevent future issues. The company's legal team disputes the claims of liability and ongoing threats, asserting that disruption's impact is exaggerated. Okay, CrowdStrike. So let me explain to you exaggerated. So a company that loses all access to being able to book flights and manage flights and run their company decides to sue you for $500 million. So what do you think is, blown out of proportion? Let me ask you this. If you were, let's say, going somewhere and you paid for a product or service and you don't get it, and there's no way they're going to make good for that in a reasonable amount of time, you're going to be pretty upset, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to be very upset. So I think that's what it comes down to, is that whole face that they're just doing this because right now, if CrowdStrike doesn't pull up their shorts soon, they're going to be out of business. They're in serious trouble right now. CrowdStrike has lost many customers. The company had told investors recently that it had a 98% retention rate, following the incident. Now, a CrowdStrike spokesperson on recent days said the credits were not necessarily directly due to losses of clients that might have suffered during the outage. So, I feel that CrowdStrike needs to change. The question every day is, will you move away from CrowdStrike? Once the dust settles, will you recommend to move away from CrowdStrike to your C-suite? Would CrowdStrike do something to change your mind? Yes or no? I hope this wakes people up and lets people know that just because a company seems to be big and they have a great image doesn't mean that they're going to be a good product. That's a big problem, a very, very problem. And I think a lot of people have to realize that whenever you're a customer and investor, you're going to see a blip sometime. And hopefully it doesn't change anything. But sometimes it does. There was a guy that said, he saw a video of a guy who traveled to a place recently hit by a terror attack on a very cheap way because it's probably safer there after the attack than before. So anybody within a year of the renewal of CrowdStrike would be crazy to renew unless it's at a minimum received a 50+% discount on licensed services. This could have happened with any EDR or even with Microsoft updates. But I think I say that, but I think the real problem I have is that they did not do the Q&A. They did not do the testing. I've been involved with production environments. I've been involved with testing environments. And I don't think they did the testing they needed to do. I mean, they pushed it out to the field just way too fast. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we had an amazing whirlwind today. A lot of things, from the Grindr crash at the GOP, the Tesla recall for the roof, the Russia distributed denial of service attack, the AI copyright lawsuit with those 3 authors about Claude, sports streaming halted with the different networks like Warner Brothers Discovery. I think that's a big problem. And Fox, and then the Iranian hack attempt, right? So these are all really crazy. And then the British post-apocalypse, which again is a game, but did catch a lot of people's attention. AI being used in intimate chat. Meta and Nvidia collaborations. We talked about shadow AI risk, which is on the rise. COT conversion breakthrough. The China's robotaxi benefits, dilemmas, and challenges. Room temperature for circuit printing, and CrowdStrike outage controversy. That's a lot of information, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to first say to you, I hope you have an amazing Labor Day weekend. You relax, you take it easy, spend some time with friends or family, have a burger, have a hot dog, enjoy some potato salad, German potato salad, regular potato salad, French fries, maybe some watermelon, pickles, chips. Maybe you have some roasted chicken, whatever you have. It's a great time to be a family. It's a great time to really sit back and just enjoy life. Hey guys, if you don't know who I am by now, well, guess what? I'm going to tell you. I am Mr. John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It is always a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you on these fantastic shows. I love being with you on all of them, especially the J Moore Tech Talk show. I love every single show that I'm on with you guys. And I thank you so much for following me. Do go to believemeachieve.com. We are almost at our milestone of 100 subscribers on our brand new channel, Inspiration for Your Life, which is just a few months old. So definitely go ahead. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. If you haven't followed me on TikTok, do that. Go to believemeachieve.com for those great, inspiring creations, which will improve the power of your life and empower not only yourself, but others that you care so much about. Ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a fantastic weekend. I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, and I'll see you guys on another J Moore Tech Talk show. If I don't see you first, on another one of my other amazing pieces of content. Do check out my Friday, Super Motivational Friday. Also check out my JCM Academy coaching on Monday. There's so much stuff out there. There's even the reels that go out there, which we give you little tidbits. And then on Friday, we sum it all up with some great content to fill in the blanks. Have yourself a fantastic evening and a wonderful, relaxing, and amazing Labor Day weekend. Take care, everyone. Be well.